Chapter 3, Reactive versus Creative. This year is going to be the best year of your life thus far. This year, you will be even happier, more loving, healthier, and more abundant. Do you agree? If you answered, "Well, I don't know if things will be better this year," then you are, like most people, waiting for the world to make you happy. I call this reactive consciousness. The world cannot make you happy. You'll have to take things into your own hands because reality begins and ends with you. If you believe that circumstances do dictate what you experience today, tomorrow, or this year, your belief system is deeply rooted in reactive consciousness. I know people who have read dozens of books on creative consciousness, but still hold the basic core belief that life is something that happens to them, not through them. Creative consciousness says, what this year will be is my decision, and I decide it will be fantastic. Again, this year is going to be the best year of your life thus far. This year you will be even happier, loving, healthy, and abundant. Do you agree? This is the stuff people think will make them happy. Other people, other places, other times, other events. But they won't. Happiness is found only today and only within. If there is no happiness today, there is no happiness at all, across the board. And if there is no happiness self-created, there is no real happiness at all, across the board. Don't wait for others in the world to make you accomplished. It's a real waste of time. Be happy beforehand, and the world will magnify your happiness. The greatest and most powerful secret of fortune is, be successful before the world proves to you that you are successful. Benefit does not come from the world, from a paycheck, from status, or from goods. You'll never acquire those things if you think they are the source and cause of fortune. To be successful, you must recognize yourself and the universe, the field, God, as source. Creative consciousness is to start, to initiate, to begin, to focus, to follow through, to be persistent, to be clear about what you want, and then to claim it. Never wait until tomorrow for the fulfillment of your dreams. Everything is happening today. If it is not happening today, it will never happen. You'll not be famous someday. That's an illusion. If you want to be famous, then behave and live like that today. There is no other day. Today is all you have. Your reality today perfectly reflects the true contents of your consciousness, reflects what your thoughts and actions have really been creating. If you face the today, you can easily see what reality you are creating without pretense. Once you confront what is true, then you can decide what changes you'd like to make, and then shift consciousness to those changes and stay with them. This isn't difficult. You identify thoughts that no longer serve you and replace them with new ones. It only becomes difficult when it is not done. Don't wait. Create. Your reaction to events is your creation of events. In the quote-unquote normal world, people believe that an event happens and then they react to it, but they are unaware that they created the event themselves. As a life coach, I'm always a little taken back at just how unaware some people are. Someone recently told me my boyfriend broke up with me. I'm so shocked. This was totally unexpected. What she didn't see, but what I saw, is that there was a concern or worry about that happening long before it happened. To her, this worry was subconscious. To me, it was obvious. Her lack of appreciation for herself that I had witnessed months before would eventually have to result in someone else withdrawing his appreciation for her. Such are the workings of the law of attraction. It cannot happen any differently. It's universal and not all that shocking and unexpected as she had claimed. Your reaction to events does not show what a bad event something is, but rather what you've been creating all along. If that terrible and shocking invoice unexpectedly comes in, it's because you have been inviting it with your energy vibration, either subtly or overtly. Since much of our energy is sent subconsciously, it may sometimes seem like a surprise. It may sometimes seem like we are the victims of uncontrollable circumstances. But if you look closely and know yourself intimately, you know that you attracted it. When someone gets extremely angry at something you did, for example, scratching the car or burning the shirt while ironing it, you can be certain that that person was already angry to begin with. They're only using the car scratch or shirt burn as an excuse to express that anger. The anger has nothing to do with outside events, nothing at all. Once you wake up and truly see with your own eyes and soul how reaction equals prior creation, life will become very amusing. You'll see all the dramas people create while pretending these dramas are things that they have nothing to do with. No, I'm angry because you burned the shirt, the husband shouts. But he's not angry because of that. He's just angry, period. And he was angry before that. If he weren't angry before that, he wouldn't be angry about the burn. Maybe he'd be slightly sulky about it, but he wouldn't throw a fit of rage. The fit of rage comes from unprocessed negative energies that had nothing to do at all with the spouse or the burned shirt. Nonetheless, it appears completely convincing to the irate husband that it's all because of the shirt. This particular husband is not owning his energy vibration, not owning his reality. He's playing a victim. If his wife then reacts to the husband with a poor little me look on her face and the fear of being hurt, then she too is creating herself as a victim. Then you have two people who are competing for who is more victim. Of course, it can be insensitive to tell people you created it because it's something they usually are unaware of. You have to try to explain it in more subtle ways than that. Most of the time, I don't even tell people so straight away. Telling them you created it will only make them more indignant. They'll have to find out themselves if they want to grow up and gain power over their realities someday. But even if you can't tell others about it, you can at least see it for yourself in your own behaviors. Even people who know about this still fall into the trap often enough. Why? Because linear time makes it look as if first event X happens and then reaction Y. Linear time makes it look as if experience precedes belief, but actually, it's just the other way around. If you have a fight with your spouse, you can be certain that there was already a negative energy vibration there hours before the fight started. Maybe you were tired. Maybe you were ignoring a pressing issue. Maybe you were exhausted or overwhelmed. Maybe you were distracted. Because if you weren't and were instead full of good humor, the fight would not have happened. It's impossible for fights to happen if you are in a state of appreciation. There are still billions of people who create negative energy vibrations with their daily indignation about a variety of world events. Whenever you witness someone behaving super indignantly or throwing a fit of rage over some event in the news or something they read on a blog, you can be certain that it's not the event causing that, but the own person's emotional issues. There is absolutely no reason to go onto the internet and rant about some politician or event. How does ranting help the situation? Has ranting ever helped the world? No, it hasn't. Then why do people keep doing it? Because of the narcissistic indulgences of the ego. The people who are helping the world are the ones taking responsibility for their feelings and actions, the ones actually contributing something positive, rather than ranting in papers, websites, and the public. To each his own, I guess. If billions think that ranting on some blog is going to help anything, that's their problem, not mine. They only weaken themselves and others by portraying everything in terms of being victims of overwhelming powers. Anger is an attack on one's own body or mind system. It's poisonous, and you can feel the poison of fear, hate, and anger flow through your veins. When you find yourself blaming some person or event for your emotional reactions, it's time to take a break, take a rest, and gain some perspective. Blaming others immediately gives your power away because you're saying they are responsible for my feelings and thoughts. I'm not responsible. I can't do anything about it. One of the best tools of a reality creator is to therefore see various negative emotions as just emotions and nothing more. You are angry just because you're angry, not because of something out there. You're sad because you decided to be sad and react in such a manner, not because of something out there. In fact, there is nothing out there. It's all in here. Of course, it's okay to feel some sadness when a loved one passes away, but anything beyond a few months of grief is self-created delusion. It's quite right to feel some guilt and regret over committing a crime, but feeling decades of guilt and regret over some prank you did as a teenager is self-created delusion. Rather than feeling guilt over your crime, it would be more useful to make up for it. It's good that you feel angry when you see some injustice happen, and it's good if you use that anger to come to the rescue. But feeling constant anger at the supposed injustices of the world is a self-created delusion. If you stole money from me, I'd rather you work to give the money back than sit around in guilt. Becoming furious, indignant, shocked, and enraged at events is a form of blasphemy. You may think that it's a strange statement, so let me explain. The universe creates in perfect harmony and accordance with the energy vibration humanity puts out, and in accordance with its own grand and mysterious design. When an event happens, you don't know if it's to your best or not. Just because your ego labels the loss of a partner as bad doesn't mean it really is. Just because your ego labels thunderstorms as bad, because I can't play golf then, doesn't mean that thunderstorms are bad. Perhaps the storm is a cleansing. Perhaps the partner left because you are progressing. What the ego considers as a loss could actually be a sign of improvement. One can only feel indignant or enraged if one thinks one knows more than the universe knows. And that's a devaluation of the universe. Hence, blasphemy. The usual objections that come up when I talk about victimhood and the law of attraction are the really hot buttons. Then what about the Holocaust? Did the Jews create that? It's terrible for you to say so because the Nazis created it. What about rape? Did the victim create that? It's terrible for you to say so. The very way those statements or questions are phrased constitutes a distortion of the law of attraction concept. It's not that the Jews nor the abused person deliberately created their situation. The rape victim did not say, "I really want to be abused." The Jews did not say, "Let's have the Nazis abuse us on a mass scale." What happened instead is that the events were ultimately attracted through fear. Fear is a strong energy attractor. This does not say that the rape victim is responsible for the event, but it shows how we attract things without even wanting to attract them. In fact, nobody really wants to attract negative events, but we do so when we forget who we are and we allow too much of the subconscious to run our lives. Negative energies accumulate and then gain a life of their own. This is what happened in World War II. However, not all events are as bad as reported on the news. People frequently hear me say, "All right, that's bad, but not quite as horrible as you say it is." The ego loves to put a dramatic and tragic spin of negativity on everything. But since, in the timeless dimension of consciousness reaction equals creation, that negative spin of energy creates more negativity. The only way to cut through the cycle of negativity and suffering is in the now. If your spouse says something not so nice to you and you can still give them a wink and a smile, you've just changed the whole world for the better. If you lose your job and can embrace that as something freeing and wonderful instead of as a loss, you have just created the energy that will attract an even better job. If everything is going wrong and falling apart and you can maintain your poise and strength, things will quickly improve. Reaction equals creation. That's why the words are anagrams of each other. Common behavior says when all is well, there's a positive reaction. And then something unwanted happens, there's a negative reaction. But by energy attraction dynamics, it actually works this way. First, there was the negative emotional reaction, and that negative emotion may be subconscious, which attracted the unwanted event, or that which is perceived as unwanted, to which then one reacts as if the event were the cause. The way you react to an unwanted event shows what you've been creating and expecting all along, often subconsciously and secretly. But in reality, the event has very little to do with how you feel. And in your new reaction, you feel according to what you believe and choose to put attention on. And once you react calmly or positively because you believe there will ultimately be a better outcome, you change the course of events accordingly. Any disappointment, frustration, or anger doesn't come from an external event. The external event comes from the frustration, disappointment, and anger. The event merely triggers it and brings it up from the subconscious. So watch how you react to things because that shows what you've been creating. Change your reactions and you change your reality.